We're now being joined in the studio by our analyst, Ayo Emakhiomhe, who will be analyzing our business stories with us from Lagos, Nigeria. Good evening, Ayo.
For having me. Hello.
Good evening, Ayo.
Good evening.
Let's
Hi.
talk about
Thank
the
you for having me.
budgets. Talking about the 10.509 trillion revised budget, there has been a lot of speculations that out of that, 186 billion naira for the health sector was omitted from the entire budget. What is your reaction to this?
On a lighter note, I will take it as human error. That just like they said, someone omitted it, and so it needs to be added back. But on a serious level, we are in the middle of a health crisis in the whole world now, not just talk of the country. And so a situation where the health bill has been omitted, or should I say removed, is a very serious matter. So the legislators have done well by deciding to step down until that amount is added to it back. The truth is, if they give it priority, then automatically, I'm sure by next week that the necessary corrections would have been made and the corrected budget will be brought back.
Okay, now let's move away from that. Let's just digress a little. Talking about COVID-19 at this period, what can you say has been the impact of COVID-19 on SMEs, and what steps can SMEs take at this period to help boost them after this pandemic?
The SMEs in the COVID-19 matter now, the SMEs are they say when elephants fight, the grass suffer. The SMEs are the grass. So they've really been bruised, some have been crushed, some have been killed, some have ceased to exist. There is virtually no SME business that has not been affected directly in this matter. But thank God we are slowly moving out of the pandemic core challenge. So businesses are starting to resume, economies are starting to reopen. And based on that, for SMEs, the first thing I think they need to do is reassess their business model. How were they running their business initially? If, for example, they were more into, they had a lot of staff, they need to reassess the staff functions and their outputs and see how it can be rearranged such that they don't need to put so much money on staff. They need to increase their engagement budgets, not just advert or marketing. They need to also, well, it's the marketing budget. They need to work more on it to create more awareness. And then we're in a season where people need to see you as human. So they need to work on their CSR budgets more. They need to support humanity as an SME. It might be through their product, their service, or however. They need to reassess their source of funding, and they need to reassess how their what do you call it? Should I call it working capital or cash flow is managed? They need to look at all that. They need to make sure they give out less and they earn more money. Because right now we're still in uncertain times. Between now until the end of the year, we're in uncertain times. So they need to have a lot of cash more. So all their farm money, like their fixed assets, needs to be converted to near money, so that if any challenge comes again or any issue is on ground, then they will be able to, reach out and take that to support their business. But mainly, they need to watch their cash and then watch their operating, the way they work. Can more of their staff work from home? Can they even run the entire business from home? Must they rent an office? Must they pay a particular bill? What are those services that they can outsource? It's better they focus on their core business. If they didn't have one, they now need to define it. What is my core business? Based on that, every other one, which of them can I do away with? Which of them can I outsource? Then which of them can I probably collaborate or partner with someone to have to achieve? With that one, their business operations gets very lean and their cash outlay drastically reduces. And then they focus more on their key customers and, increase the volume of business with their key customers and their key sectors so that their average income increases and they remain in business.
Now, still talking business, now the AFDB,
Yes.
African Development Bank, we just heard in the news that they've provided $10 billion to implement strategic roadmap projects to assist Nigeria and other African countries to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 in the agricultural sector. Now, besides getting funds from other sources, other banks, other avenues, how can Nigeria as a country boost their revenue, especially in the agricultural sector with this pandemic?
Agricultural sector, we've been talking about this for a long time. For the country as a whole to boost revenue in the agricultural sector, what we look at is number one, business support. Thank God for the Anchor Borrowers Program that the CBN has, and they've promised supporting about 1.6 million farmers. That is a step forward, because if you provide support for 1.6 million farmers, it means that their business will increase and government will tax them, and so from tax they will make more money. But outside that, they need to provide other means of support like infrastructure. Our road system needs to be improved upon. Our power system needs to be improved upon. If power is very good, then agricultural processing will improve. And with agricultural processing improve, volume of business will improve in the agricultural sector, and the government will have more money to tax. At the same time, they should look for how to give tax exemptions to some sectors in the market, especially those in the primary agricultural areas. That's those that are either doing the planting or the growing, while those in the processing, you can leave the tax as it is with them, because the tax is tied to the volume of business they do. Then infrastructure, I've mentioned power, I've mentioned transportation, which is logistics. Then government should improve on what you call their research and development. There are a lot of things that are not there, like storage systems and all that. Government should provide support in that area. And if they do that, then the income that they are getting from the agricultural sector will increase. And they should not look at, because that's what a lot of people have been saying, shutting their doors. They should look at how to bring in foreign expertise and foreign equipment on a collaborative model that encourages knowledge transfer or transfer of technical skills, so that when all those equipment and professionals are brought in, we learn from their own better skills, we take from their technology and improve on what we are doing.
Okay. All right. So before I let you go, very quickly, we know the situation of things in the country. Now, we know that a lot of businesses would need to get loans from financial institutions to boost themselves back on their feet. Now, do you think it will be very feasible or possible for financial institutions to give out loans at this period? And if yes, what percentage of interest rate do you think should be accrued to this?
Getting credit in the middle of crisis, it's a crazy situation. Number one, the financial institutions, the money there is not theirs, so they have to protect depositors' funds. And so we are in a situation of uncertainty, so they might not want to lend. Already, a lot of loans they've given out are already seeming to go bad, which is why they are giving some moratoriums, and they are looking at the possibility of reducing interest rates, so that the costs on those businesses will be less. At the same time, you as a business person, going to access loan now, I don't even advise it to start with, because just as the banks are seeing it as a time of uncertainty, even your business is also facing uncertainty. So going to say you want to borrow money, unless it's an ongoing project where you need funding to finish it, then you can look at assessing credits. But from both sides, we have a lot of uncertainty. So I would advise that let everybody, as much as possible, downplay the loan part. But yes, I have been locked down for how many months now? A lot of things have gone bad, a lot of things have not been working well. So automatically, I would need to boost my business. So because of that, I will need to go and assess credits. What I think should happen is that the government should provide some form of guarantees or support to those financial institutions, which they can now use like a form of on-lending to the SMEs. Because without that, those financial institutions are businesses. And so they need to keep their own business afloat. And the best way is to protect and keep their cash. But even we, the SMEs, need the money too. So it is for government to provide some form of support, some form of backup to the financial institutions so that those ones will be comfortable giving out those monies.
So much, Ayo Emakhiomhe, for sharing your thoughts with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving
Thank you
on,
for
away
having me.
from that,